dark secluded corners. Dark secluded corners are preferred places for floor eggs. Increase the light intensity between 30 and 60 lux to prevent floor eggs. Make sure that the last light source in the house is located close to the wall. At construction, the first and last light source are often 2 meters from the front and rear wall, thus preventing a good light distribution in the corners of the house. Preventing a good light distribution in the corners of the houses. And the first and last source are often 2 meters from front and rear wall, thus preventing a good light distribution in the corners. Corners of the house. The lighting at construction. The first and last source are often 2 meters from the front and rear wall, thus preventing a good light distribution in the corners of the house. At construction, first and last light source are often 2 meters from the front and rear wall, thus preventing a good light distribution in the corner. Preventing a good light distribution. Preventing a good light distribution in the corners of the house. At construction, the first and last light source are often 2 meters from the front and rear wall, thus preventing a good light distribution in the corners of the house. Floor eggs on the slot just in front of the laying nest. This was caused by an electrified wire above the drinking line in order to keep birds off. Chickens are very sensitive to electromagnetic field and prefer not to pass underneath the drinkers to the nest. Never use electrified wire in a poultry house. Never use electrified wire in a poultry house. The lighting in this house is not good. Creating a shady area next to the slotted floor. You will probably find floor egg here. By hanging a light source a little bit differently, you can prevent shady places. You sometimes find egg under the feeding pans. Chickens like to sit under something when they lay. Chickens like to sit under something when they lay eggs, which is probably an instinct to protect wild birds from predation. Eggs under the feed chain. This sometimes happens when birds are fed at a time. When they should be laying eggs. The desire to eat overruled the need to find the laying nest. The desire to eat overrules the need to find the laying nest. The desire to find overrule. To eat overrules the need to find the laying nest. The desire to eat overrules the need to find the nest. The desire to eat overrules the need to find the laying nest. The desire to eat overrules the need to find the laying nest. Train the females to use the laying nest. Avoid alternative laying spot. Train the female to use the laying nest. Prevent floor eggs. The first 2 weeks in the production house determine the results. You can unlearn bad habits. Prevention is the best solution. You can unlearn bad habits. You can unlearn bad habits. Make sure there's a peace and quiet around the laying nest. During rearing. Action. Teach the chicks to jump in order to learn how to use the laying nest. Use the same feeding and drinking systems. In rearing and laying. Place platform and perches from 4 to 6 weeks. Place drinkers above the platform and perches. Place drinkers above the platforms and perches. Ensure a light intensity of at least 10 to 20 lux. Stimulates activity and use of the platforms. Ensure a light intensity of at least 10 to ensure a intensity of at least 10 to 20 lux platforms ensure a light intensity of at least 10 to 20 lux stimulates activity and use of the platform Do not use electric wires above the feed and water. This will prevent birds from learning to use their environment. Prevent play during the production period. Place the birds directly on the slats after they have been moved. Keep the nest slats and perches clean. Open the nest at least 1 hour before lights on. Open the nest at least 1 hour before lights on. Close the nest an hour before lights on. Close the nest an hour before the lights switch off. Make sure the opening is large enough. Provide a slat height of up to 25 to 30 centimeter and less than 5% slope. Keep a maximum of 45 females per linear meter of nest. At the start of the laying period, collect floor eggs at least 5 times a day to keep new eggs from being laid next to the already present floor eggs. Take the light program from the rearing house as a starting point for the layer house. Take the light program from the rearing house as a starting point for the layer house. Open the nests at the first signs of crouching. Females are curious and will explore the nests. Feed and water management. Avoid feeding at the time of oviposition. Avoid feeding at the time of oviposition. Oviposition. Do not place an electric wire above feed and water. Lift up empty feed line. Housing. Distribute the light evenly throughout the house. Avoid moderately lit areas and shadows. Avoid draughts in the nest boxes. Distribute ventilation evenly through the house. Avoid high bird density. Make sure the laying nests are dark with a light opening. And with a light opening. Make sure the laying nests are dark with light opening. Male behavior. Synchronize the maturity stage of males and females. Avoid overmating. Avoid overmating. Too many males. Place male feeding system far away from the nest. Place the male feeding systems far away from the nest. Far away from the nest. Far away from the nest.